And we are live. Hello, everybody out there in the wonderful world of Twitch. This is your host for the day, John, and welcome to Seriously Let's Play, where we get a whole bunch of players together from all over, usually with busy schedules, and say, hey, seriously, let's play a game. Today, I have the opportunity and I guess honor to step in and run Gutterpunk, which is my game. So I'm John. I am usually the one of the owners, runners. 'Cause I don't even know what we call ourselves really for
Grand
Rook and Rasp.
Overlords.
Yeah, it's like
Grand Overlords.
I heard the cats, and at the same time I am the cats. So uh, that's how that usually seems to work out. But today we are going to be playing Gutterpunk. But before we get to that, I am going to go ahead and have all my players introduce themselves. Please feel free to say if there are any other streams you're on, any other podcasts, whatever it is you're doing. But we're going to go in the order that I have you in on my screen. So I'm going to start us off with Kaylee.
Hello there, everybody on Twitch. I'm Kaylee, also on everywhere else as Anime Girl, ANIMEIGRRL. You can see me here. You can hear me on the Redemption podcast, which is returning in October for our final podcast season, and every other Tuesday night on Identico here on Twitch, where I play a hacker named Chone. But today I'm here to rage against the establishment, which, wait, John, does that mean you're the establishment?
I'm not quite established yet, so it's okay.
Okay. Then I'm not mad at you then. Okay.
Yep. Hi, Dad. Sorry, we got people out in chat saying hello. And next up, though, in order of who I have on my screen, we're going over to Danielle.
I'm Danielle. I'm often on these series as Let's Play, and you can also find me over on the One-Legged GM channel for part of the Restore Corps where I play a Sasquatch, WD-42.
It's true. And they have a great time. Uh, Going on, though, we're gonna go clockwise down, and we're going to get in Phil.
There, Phil. I've made a few appearances on series of Let's Play, and I've really enjoyed experiencing all of those and looking forward to trying out your system, John.
Thank
I'm
you.
also a part of the cast on the Voyages of on Monday evenings here on Conrad. I have a lot of fun doing that as the ship's ambassador and counselor, dual roles.
About the only one that keeps them all out of trouble sometimes. All right, and next up we have Asu.
Hi, I'm Asu. I've been around the Rook and Rasp channel. A little while ago, I ran the Shadowrun Emerald City Knights show. That's
Yeah.
a word. And now I'm back for Gutterpunk. Woo!
Absolutely. So, thank you all for agreeing to meet me for this. We were going to be doing Command Droids, which is a wonderful game that will be coming around hopefully next month. They will be hopping in on the schedule. They were fighting COVID, and I said that it's all good because one of the big things of our channel is life always comes first. Real life is bigger than any game, and if they are they were facing something that obviously is a huge life event this day and age. So I'm stepping in. They're going to be moving to October. Command Droids is a wonderful game where you play both the pilot and a transforming mech from beyond the stars who is here on the Earth, facing off against other evil versions of mechs from beyond the stars. So, really good system, and it's by the one person I know that I've had a chance to meet. Hopefully, they're out there. Hi, Megan. Megan Jaffe is one of the writers for the game, and you may know them from about 20 years ago for being one of the creators of a game called Shay Geek. So this is going to be coming around from them, and I'm really excited. I'm hoping to play in that one and get a chance to do it. That said, obviously, we do have channeler rewards out there tonight, and I will be explaining how those work as we get into game. But without further ado, I'm going to start us up with a little bit of sound for our people out there in Chatland and a little intro of what's happening. So, we're going to be going with a little bit of this. So, welcome to the world of Gutterpunk, and my name, like I said before, is John, and I'm the creator and writer of this new tabletop RPG experience. While you travel into the world of my delusion, hopefully you'll enjoy how we wanted to capture this bizarre style of punk zines and the cheap record store newsletter that captured this movement. For around 10-15 years, I was an active member of the punk scene and eventually went to college for a degree in art, focusing in music. Uh, so, by sheer luck, I ended up the colorist for a gaming comic called Complex Actions and stumbled into the world of game design and layout for Adventure Week in Dark Skull Studios and a few indies on the side. This is my first attempt or self-release, and it is going to Kickstarter later this year. Gutterpunk is my love letter to the punk movement and music performance in general. It is, in fact, many of the game terms and powers come directly from the field of music, but presented in a way that doesn't require even a layman's understanding of music or being a punk. That was kind of my goal overall, is I want everyone to be able to enjoy this and do something a little bit different, play a game. And I will say this, as far as I know right now, Gutterpunk is the only game that's coming out on the scene that allows you as a player to turn your roles in the game into music. And we will be discussing that as we get further in, and I might even do a demonstration. Certain people in the cast know that already, but, we'll get there. So let's get into the world for all my players and everyone out there. Sure, somebody is going to break down the etymology and say, gee, gutters, those are the things on the edges of buildings and street that collect rainwater and waste. And punk is a social movement where we rebel against social norms. So the question is Gutterpunk a rebellion or a social movement that takes place in trash? And no, it's not. What we fail to realize is that in the gutter is life and freedom. It's a harmonious biome, a place where the punks have broken free to a lifestyle of norms and bolt heads. Their music is loud, their art defies expectation, and ambrosia is tossed in the dumpster behind Plucky's Burgers after 10 p.m. It's the place where the only law is that there are no laws. Kind of. Still, what you trade for the benefit of being a gutter punk is a trip into a landscape that might have come from an insanely drug-addled Lewis Carroll knockoff. Getting into gutter punk is a personal journey. In each one of my players here, I've asked. Originally, it was going to be Sean was going to be in, but I'm very thankful for Danielle to be stepping in for us. They had this opportunity and jumped in. Thank you. But we have a moment where we need to talk about how you got here. Some punks, it's finding a fire escape ladder down and a punk climbing it to the top of the building. Sometimes it's that you fall asleep under a bridge and wake up and you're someplace else. A rare few in the middle of a concert, you're there one moment and you're someplace else. This is your chance to tell me how your character got here and give me a little bit of idea of how you see your character as far as description goes as well. This is your personal, this is your personal journey. This is your personal character. Think of it as your own wardrobe into Shauna Narnia. So, that said, who would can I ask for a volunteer amongst all of us? Anybody that would like to go first?
I'll do it. So I'm playing Shanna Sauer. She's a derby girl, but she's also been a vocalist for a pop punk band for a little bit while, and she's pure punk at heart. But the only gig she's been able to find lately is more of this saccharine pop punk sound, and it's been kind of driving her crazy. But she actually was at a derby gig where she's a jammer, and she took one too many elbows to the head, went down really hard, and when she woke up, she was laying in a gutter. Like like an alley, like up against a wall. There's like a burning van up on blocks to one side, and she's kind of stumbled out of the alley to find herself here in the gutter.
Okay. Who would like to go next? Would anybody else like to volunteer?
I'll go next. Uh, one day, Jane Eyre, uh, was just running from the cops. Completely, I I didn't even realize that you weren't allowed to spray paint a cop car, but there I was running down the alleyway, and I I tripped face first into a brick wall, and next thing I knew, I was standing in the gutter in an alleyway.
Cool, cool. Uh, and between Danielle and Phil, how about for one of y'all? Oh,
I'm Maddie Splatter, and not always don't always have the money to get tickets, but I found the back ways into a lot of buildings over the time, and decided to sneak into a concert this time, and through the basement, up through the wires, and found myself on so many twists and turns, even though I swear I knew this building. And when I finally opened a door, I was in an alley, but not one for this building. And I've been here since.
awesome. And finally for Phil.
Um, Ricky is tall. Um, I think the character I'm going to stick pretty close to that was kind of the red-headed lumberjack. I think it was kind of described in the great art that's on the screen there. He's in the kind of the upper right there, right next to the drummer or percussionist, and so um, he likes to mosh, and I'm hoping to get to use that skill I saw on Ricky's sheet later. So you know, he was at his local club that he really likes to frequent or whatever, and he was in that mosh pit. And he was just in that moment. He was in that moment where you know you're not caring about what's going on around the people. You're just focusing your own moment and that music and all that kind of stuff. And he's you know moshing, and then when he's done, he's not at the concert that he started at, and he's you know didn't know how he got there, but he definitely decided that he needed to you know figure out what was going on and find a safe space.
All right. Well, your characters have found their way into the gutter. So, one moment you were there in the real world, and now you're here. And this isn't a parallel like dimension. This isn't you're going to be able to go back and find your house or wherever it was that you came from in this location. Uh, you can't mistake being in the gutter. Uh, for instance, it's an urban jungle. The buildings are taller for one, and the light from the sky it isn't quite sunlight. It has sort of an orange quality to it, a dust and kind of fog that lurks within it as well. It's warm, but it's unnatural and it's humid. Areas of the street here in the gutter have trash and lost things to the real world, native to our world, have made it here to the gutter as well. It's a place where the sun never hits the streets. The man is real, the Jersey's hunting packs, and the police are literally fuzzing pigs. And that is not some metaphor. Literally, the way the gutter works is that whatever forces you face off against in our world have manifested in this world as twisted variations. So, most would say, why risk it? Why would anyone want to go to the gutter? It may be dangerous, I would say, but in the gutter you have the power of the riff. With a guitar on your back and a stomp in your step, you make monsters tremble. And that is pretty much the tagline and the overall idea of this world. That said, really quick on mechanics for both my players and the viewers out there. This game uses d6s. Almost every roll you're going to make uses only one d6. you're going to roll that d6 and add one of your what is called a riff rating. You'll notice that on your character sheet at the top, there's a certain group called riff ratings. Each one of those is going to be, depending on how you describe your action, is going to be added to that d6. Now, this is a game where I as GM, will be rolling against you. So you roll and add your d6, and I roll a d6 as well, but I don't add a stat. I roll what is called tempo. The scene overall has a feeling, a flavor, just like music. And the speed of music is tempo. A slow, easygoing song has a low tempo. It's very, it's almost drowsy at its slowest. But the faster the tempo goes, the more danger, the more excitement that can take place and does take place within this world. So you are never rolling really up against a monster or even another punk. You're always rolling up against the tempo of the scene. So tempo is a fluctuating number during the game. It fluctuates from 1 to 11. And with that, your actions, how you roll, will directly affect tempo. When you roll and beat me on a roll, tempo will be able to go down, or you'll be able to take a point of feedback. I'll get to feedback in a second. If you roll and fail, tempo goes up, and I get a point of feedback. Now, feedback in this world is, depending on, role-playing games in general, anything that you can use to start tracking some points. If you want to use a dice, you can. If you want to use chips, you can. The idea is that you're building up a pool of these chips. Now, you come into a scene, you can spend one of your points, and that can do one of two things. The first thing it can do is that it can add +1 per chip that you spend on a roll. So let's say you roll a 4 and you have in one of your riffs a 4, you got an 8. You spend one chip, it bumps it up to a 9. You can spend as many chips as you have. If you want to spend them all at the same time, you can do that. But you can also use this when you decide to play music. Music in this world is magic, and we're not going to get into that too much quite yet because I want us to get some of this base level, how this game runs down first. But you can actually reduce your die pool by 1 die per chip you spend. So that is the other use for these. Every one of my players here today has already 1 point of feedback. So let's go ahead and drop you all into a scene. You're hanging out at a place in the alley, not too far away from everything. Tall buildings here, trash that's been piled up, but you've managed to cut a path through it. And in the back of it is, we're going to say, I'm going to have fun with y'all, an old horse trailer. It's a wrecked horse trailer that is up against the wall. Somebody basically discarded it in our world, and it ended up here. So that's the magic of the gutter. Whatever is lost in the real world always finds its way here eventually. So yes, that lunch that you threw away in the trash can because you didn't like a bologna sandwich is probably here somewhere.
Socks from the dryer.
Socks from the dryer. USB cables. Oh yes, they're here. But you have kind of made this place your territory within the gutter. Even with all the buildings and other things around, this is a safer location for you as Gutterpunks. You see, the rest of this world is, like I said, populated by caricatures of dangers in our world. Two of the most common dangers and the things that are the most numerous in this world are going to be norms and bolt heads. Norms are, if you all recently watched WandaVision, or if not WandaVision, if you remember the old Coca-Cola ads, like the 1950s, prim and proper, perfect proportioned people that have certain kind of art aesthetic. It's not quite pinup girl or bomber style art, but it has that feel of it. That's what a norm looks like. But a norm on top of that also has a wide grin, almost unearthly. Pointing out perhaps the music video Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, where that mouth just is unnatural to the size of the face. The other thing that is mostly populates the gutter is a bolt head. Bolt heads follow a very standardized way of living, and that is get up, go to work, perform their menial tasks, come home, go to sleep. And that is their day in and day out. They're really not too dangerous as long as you don't interfere with what they're trying to do. So, like I said, this place here in the gutter is someplace much more safe for you and your team. But someone runs into the alley where you're all hanging out, and you hear the footsteps coming. Give me an idea as you respond to this, what your character might have been doing here. Whether it's practicing instruments or, just relaxing, looking at a magazine you found somewhere. Let's go around the group. So starting off, I'm going to start off with Asu, with Jane.
All right. I would have been in the middle of painting a huge mural on the side of the building. I'm trying to think of how to not say the most vulgar thing I can think.
Welcome to Gutterpunk. I won't fault you as long as it's not too sexual in nature.
Okay. Darn.
Oh, okay. Well,
There goes half our audience. They just checked out because we're not gonna have that.
I mean,
Doc, come back.
I'll say it as it's a bolt head and a norm in R-rated scenes.
cool.
Very large, about 10 feet by 10 feet.
And you're just painting that on the wall?
Yep.
Cool. All right, moving over then. How about for Phil with Ricky?
I'm envisioning Ricky kind of based on part about mine is moshing that he's probably a higher energy individual, and I think he also has that riff rating of loud. And I don't know if that'll connect in or not, but
It will.
okay. So I'm thinking that he's probably got a few things that are set up that are kind of like where he's built some things together. So he's got some equipment that he can like kind of do workouts, do strength training, those types of pieces. So he was doing bench presses and working out.
All right. And moving around to Danielle with Maddie.
Betty is the type of person who either likes to be up high or down low or something. So they're on top of the trailer, lying back, staring at the sky with their bass guitar just lightly strumming.
Awesome. And finally with Kaylee with Shanna.
Shanna's been kind of bored for the past couple hours, so she's set up an obstacle course in the alley, and she's currently on her skates, not wearing her helmet because she lost that somewhere between here and the real world, but she's just kind of flying through it, riding up the wall, trying not to get onto the freshly painted mural, occasionally taking jumps over other bandmates, and just basically doing circuits up and down the alley and kind of throwing elbows to occasional like garbage cans and making noise and being annoying.
All right. This kid runs into the alley. You've recognized them. We're going to go ahead and say that their name is Pip. And Pip basically looks at your group and has been running for a while. Kind of puts their hands on their knees. Now, Pip is also a punk in this world. But finding their way here. That said, really quickly, you are the lead characters in this story, even though there are going to be other punks. This is your album. This is your story. Again, other punks will not be rolling against you in the way that they will also use tempo. So just want to point that out, how you interact with the NPCs. But finally, after taking a few deep breaths, looks up and says, Johnny's in trouble.
Well, not
Johnny is another member of your group. Uh, hangs out with you quite a bit. He's jammed out with you a few times on guitar. But Pip's like, he had gone out early. I think he'd gone over to like Rising Shine Donuts, and he was grabbing some stuff. And some people saw him diving, and they're chasing him.
Who's chasing him?
I think a couple norms. I think.
Let's get the details on the way. Ricky will grab his shirt and his guitar.
All right. You grabbed your stuff, I'm guessing, and begin to make your way. Now, as you're leaving the alley, I want to be sure to say this, that although you are musicians, you don't actually carry a physical instrument with you. You literally have the ability on the scene to hold out your hand and through some sort of quality of power, whether it's, supernatural in nature or ethereal, however it is that you would describe it, that instrument suddenly appears in your hand and you're able to play it then. So just, tossing it out there that you aren't running around with a giant instrument or drums in some people's cases to get through the alleyways. But, so I'm guessing all of you begin to take off?
yes.
Oh yeah.
All right. Up ahead of you, Pip is leading the way. So you are kind of bound to whatever speed they are maintaining. But you begin to make your way through these roads and streets. There are cars that you're passing. You're running between norms and boltheads who are just walking along. The roads are busy. There are a few times that you have to manage your way across roads, through tunnels, whatever. This is quite a distance. And along the way, Pip is telling you, yeah, they've been chasing him for a while. I know they got to be around here. Yelling back over their shoulder to you. You finally crest... Oh, sorry. You were about to say?
No,
I should say-
I
Go ahead.
I believe Pip with all of my heart and all of my soul.
Yeah, I'm following Pip too, but since Pip's moving a little slow, Shanna is occasionally like skating up to him and then kind of turning and orbiting him on her skates and just kind of like just like keeping him company almost more than anything else.
All right. You hear some commotion up ahead coming from one of the crossroads. And Pip's like, that's got to be it. Let's go. And turns a corner up ahead, and you now see Johnny on the far side of this group. There are about, I'd say, 5 or 6 norms here in the alley, as well as what appears to be 2 pigs. Now, in this world, think of them as anthropomorphic individuals. Physically, they look like humans, but they have the heads and tusks of a large pig, and they are dressed in the gear of law enforcement.
Like the pigs from Duke Nukem.
Kind of. But they begin to approach, and Johnny's looking a little bit rough for wear. Like, he's taking a little bit of damage. So, and you hear the norms kind of yelling to this pig. They're like, "Yeah, we saw him. He was stealing stuff." And you hear the squeal as the pig begins making his way step by step towards Johnny. And I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to give you a round where you can do anything you want. We're not going to stick it to initiative yet. We will get into initiative here in a moment. But putting it out to the group, we're going to ask everybody what it is that you want to do entering into this scene. And remember, this is a storyteller style game, much like Powered by the Apocalypse and a few others, where the idea is whatever you can describe, it is possible for it to occur. It's how you describe it that decides what traits you're going to use. Okay? So, starting off, I'm going to go opposite order from how we started with the last time through. I'm going to start with Shanna. So for Shanna, what is she doing as she sees this moment?
Is there a pigmobile here too?
Let's go ahead and say, yeah, there is.
Okay. Then Shanna's she's got a glint in her eye, and she kicks off from where she was near Pip. Using the pigmobile as kind of a vault, she skates up the back hood of it, kicking off the flashing lights, and actually manages to skate her way along the side of the alley to try and get in front of the pigs and get to Johnny to try and yank him out of immediate danger before the pigs can lay their filthy paws on him.
All right. Now, that is what your character's doing. You've kind of declared that action. The rest of your players are going to get to know what it is you've decided and how they're going to interact as well. So going on in the order, for Maddie, what do you think that, she is going to be doing?
She's going to try to move up into the crowd, and knowing what Shannon tends to do, distracting, puts herself in a place where she can grab Johnny and pull if the distraction doesn't go well.
Okay.
I'm hurt by your mistrust.
You never know. Because we're going to be coming around with that here in a second.
You're good at slamming into things, not necessarily grabbing.
All right. Down to Ricky. So for Ricky, for Phil.
If Maddie thought that what Shanna was doing was bad, well, here goes Ricky. Ricky's gonna go, "Hey pigs, get away from my friend," and menacingly advance towards them.
All right. And finally, Asu.
So, as described earlier, I am going to summon my drum set, and just have a blast beat wave that wouldn't affect punks, but would definitely affect those not used to the loudness of punk music in a stun.
All right. Yes.
I have a question. How does that look when you summon the drums? Do they fall from the sky? Do they materialize? Can you give me a visual on that?
Absolutely. So, as always, I have my drumsticks in my waistband. I pull the drumsticks out, and in like a wave of paint, right as I'm kind of motioning to sit down, it's like a big soupy vortex of paint. How to put it? Materializes at my feet, goes up, and then splashes back down, and my drums are there.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm getting really quick from chat. Sounds like people are getting a little bit of feedback from me. Sorry about that. I will adjust a little bit.
Wait, does that mean we get another one of these?
No, that technically wouldn't mean I'd get some. 1 second.
Well, yeah, dang it. Okay, never mind. I was objecting withdrawn.
No problem. All right. Hopefully that's a little bit better now.
Wait, strike that. Reverse.
Ooh. And we have our first point of feedback purchased for our players. So chat has gotten that in there. So let's go ahead and I
Hey, Roo.
who amongst you would like a point of feedback, or who would you like to nominate anyone based on that previous description?
Drums. Drums.
Oh,
All right,
Jane.
I got 2 for the drummer, so I'll go ahead and I'll give you an extra point. Remember, everybody here does already start with a point for this game, but that also means I have a point of feedback, which we will get into how that works. All right, so going around, let's go ahead and start off. So you all have an idea of what each other are doing. Jane, I am going to have your music take place last. So we're going to get through everything, and that way we can introduce mechanics and music mechanics, which are separate and have its own way of working. That said, yeah, because we're going to throw it all in here. The
Here
way
comes
this
more feedback.
Huh?
More feedback.
Yep. Uh-oh. Wow. Everybody, everyone in the lineup, you all now have an extra point of feedback.
Uh-oh,
From
but he also
chat.
released the tempo.
And then he missed the tempo. Oh my god, what are you doing to us?
Goodness.
Thanks,
They like
Riley.
you. All right, so everybody now has 2 points of feedback, if I'm reading that right. Ooh, and the tempo is going to go up. Now, let's go ahead and start there. Like I said, all your rolls are against tempo. As a scene is created, the GM, or the lead, as this game calls them, sets the tempo. Based on, I do have a table that is used, and based on that table, I can set it, to anywhere from 1 to 11. The danger in this scene, they are unaware of your presence. I'm going to go ahead and set it. I would have set it at an 8, but that little boost that I got from our and a point of feedback for me now. That little boost from chat is going to put us at a 9 for our tempo. The tempo is at a 9, so that's pretty high. It's a dangerous scene. There is a lot happening, a lot of moving pieces. So, starting off though with Shanna. So you had wanted to skate over there through all this and reach down and try and grab Ricky. So let's go ahead and see how that works out for you. Are you going to go ahead and spend your feedback?
I think I'm definitely going to spend a point on my feedback.
And you can
Indeed.
always wait until after you roll. You don't have to do it immediately, but I do want to put that out there.
I feel like I'm going to do this right now. Am I limited to the amount of feedback I can spend?
Not at
per
all.
turn?
You can spend as much as you want.
Okay, I'm just going to spend 1. What does that give me mechanically?
A +1 to your roll. So your roll
Okay.
+1. Now, you are, and I should do this as well. You are skating over there to your ally. The way this works within this game is that every character has 5 stats, which we call riff ratings. Each one of those riff ratings uses a specific title or term. And I'm going to explain them really quick. So like they have bold, loud, caustic, empathetic, and witty. Bold is also, think of it as being stalwart. It's the ability to stand up and take it, whether it's physical damage or simply looking at someone and telling them no. Loud. Loud is raw power and strength. It's the rallying cry, it's the raised fist, and it's the punch that breaks a nose. Caustic. Punks may be the best at saying or doing the wrong thing at the right time to elicit a response. This is the taunt, the insult, the middle finger, and the thrown rotten butter bottle during a protest. Empathetic. This is the ability to understand what others need and express it, whether it's the kind words, the gentle hug, or even in some cases carrying a passed out comrade home. And finally, witty. There are times when you're going to need to do something that makes someone think. Maybe it's a witty phrase, solving a problem, working a puzzle, or tricking someone while playing a game of basketball by juking. So hopefully that explains a little bit of how this works. So based on your description, and you are running over there trying to grab Johnny, by the hand or somehow to get him out of harm's way. Which of your abilities do you see that fitting into? I know I myself, because you're trying to get around and everything else, I see a little bit of wittiness to that.
This is much more of a Loud. She is just going straight in. She's doing it with style, obviously. You know, disrespecting the car, grinding off the wall, and just in the pig's face, taking away their prey. So I'm gonna use Loud.
Yep. And to little Loudmouse in chat, yeah, players' feedback is beneficial. I mean, think of it in the music terms, like feedback when it is used right. It makes you sound and look like a metal god. When you like, think of that moment in what's the song, Creep. In Creep, right before the guitars come in, you hear that feedback begin to build up, and it's being used just perfectly, and all of a sudden you feel like you're being transported someplace else. Feedback is much the same way for characters. It will be beneficial to the players, but feedback, if you screw it up, and that's where, if I have feedback points, feedback can make you look like a complete poser. So, So you are going. Let's go ahead and go with Loud. You're jumping off the cop car. It is a loud action. You are being strong and out there with this action. So you roll a d6 and add your Loud trait. I roll a d6 and I add the tempo of the scene, which is currently, I believe I said 9 or 8. I think it was
9.
Yeah.
It was 9 because of the raise.
All right. So I rolled a 3. That puts me at 12.
Okay, so my Loud is a 6. I rolled a 3. Feedback gives me 1. But because I'm a derby girl, and all I need is some space, and I'm a lethal weapon on wheels, distance is no longer a factor, and I get +2 to combat checks. That also gives me a 12.
Yep. So characters also have things that are equivalent of feats. All my players here have these things that we call in this game kicks. Everybody should have 2, and each one of those can apply bonuses in certain situations. Shanna is a derby girl, so all right. That gets you 1 point higher than where I was, I believe. Correct?
Oh, we're tied, actually.
Oh, we're tied. Ties always go to the defenders in this case. Sorry. Ties always go to the players in this game. It's your story. It's your album. So that means that you now may choose. Your action is successful. You may choose whether or not you're going to get a point of feedback or lower the tempo by 1.
I think as Shanna kind of jukes in front of the pigs, grabs, was it Johnny or Ricky? I forgot which one.
Johnny.
Johnny. Grabs Johnny by the collar. She does a cut with her skates to slow down and reverse course, and sprays the pigs with garbage, which would definitely not drop the tempo, but looks really cool. So I'm going to take that point of feedback as she starts skating away with their prey.
All right. That said, so you were successful in grabbing, Johnny for the moment. Tempo is going to stay the same. You got the feedback, correct?
Yes.
So, Maddie, do you want to adjust your action? Do you want me to come back around to you in a moment, or do you have an idea of what you'd like to do?
Around, see what else happens.
All right. Let's go down to Ricky then. I still would like to end with Jane, because music has a certain power in this world. So Ricky, you've witnessed this, and you're running on the scene too. Now the pigs look like they are getting ready to enter into pursuit of Johnny, and now at the same time, Shanna. What are you going to do? I mean, you had said you wanted to run into the scene and yell at them. Is that still going to be your action?
Yeah, I'm gonna rephrase from get away from my friend to, hey pigs, you want to fight?
All right. That sounds like a caustic thing. So you're definitely trying to get their attention and yell and elicit that negative response. So I would say caustic plus D6 versus tempo, which is still at an A9. I rolled a 1, so that puts me at 10.
Rolled a 6, which puts me at 12.
12. So you are up
Right.
Or
1.
crits or anything like that, or
So here's the thing. You're seeing how you describe it. The actions that you have done are going to be successful. It depends. Now, do you want the feedback or do you want to lower the tempo?
um. Well, it doesn't make any sense to lower the tempo based off of my actions, so I'll take the feedback.
Well, the thing is, like I said, this is a storyteller-based game. They could see you and all of a sudden hear you say that and look over and be a little bit intimidated.
Okay.
So
Then
it
I'll
is
lower the
up to
tempo
you.
that way.
Yeah, like I said,
That is my goal, so that makes sense.
all right. So tempo is going to come down to an 8 then. And the good thing is with that, that means the tempo is shifted for everybody. Where it's been 9 for everyone is now 8 for everyone. And they do. They kind of like, okay, that's a big person. Do we really want to fight? Yeah, of course they're like, yeah, we kind of have to. It's our job. They pull out their nightsticks and begin to, walk your direction. Like, splitting off a little bit, the norms who have also filled the scene are like, ooh. And they're all kind of wide-eyed, look, off to the sides, watching as this takes place. With that description, Danielle, is there anything you would like Maddie to go ahead and do? And remember, this is a fantasy world. You're more than welcome to run over and clock one of them.
Before the Norms are now distracted, and they were trying to hurt Johnny too. So I want to push the Norms into the path of the pigs.
Okay. All right, pushing some norms into the path of the pigs. Let's go ahead and say that would be obviously a loud action. You're taking a very physical, out there approach. And let's go ahead and have you roll with that. So loud plus a d6, and now I am at a tempo of 8 with my d6. And I rolled a 2, so that puts me at 10 total.
5, and that puts me at 11.
You're 1 over. That gets you either the points of feedback, or you can instead drop the tempo again. So, your choice. The feedback is a personal benefit. The affecting the scene lowers tempo for everybody, and affects obviously how the creatures are going to react.
Tempo be thinking that if they now have somebody they shouldn't be hitting in their path.
All right. So, doing the tempo. All right. You drop the tempo by 1 then with your action, and the norms fall in front of the pigs, and it's like, ah! And they begin to kind of dust themselves off as they get up. The cop is, trying to reach down now to help them, and it's like all of a sudden there's something a little bit more important happening in their eyes. They are distracted and at the same time a little bit confused. And finally, we're going to shift it over to Jane. So this is where we need to talk about music for the game. And this is going to take just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and throw up a card onto the screen for all our viewers so they can get an idea of what is about to happen. All right. So, in the world of music, especially here in the gutter, music is the ultimate equalizer. It is magic. What happens with this is that you are going to be building a spell. So we're going to go step by step the easy way to build this up. Hopefully, I did send everybody out the sheet earlier, so you can also get an idea how this runs as far as the dice pool we need to build. Unlike the rest of the game is done tempo versus riff. Music is the construction of a dice pool for a spell. It's decided by 3 factors. Who's it going to affect? How big is the effect going to take up? What size? And also, how many rounds does it last? A music effect can take anywhere from 3 dice to 15 dice. Now, there are specific numbers in the dice pool that you need to roll. Like if you're rolling for Shadowrun, you're looking for 5s and 6s, right? 5s and 6s are successes. If you are running World of Darkness on a D10, 8, 9s, and 10s are successes. If you're using the PIP system from Third Eye Games, specific numbers are going to be specific successes. For them, I believe it is 4, 5, and 6. In Gutterpunk, we have chosen, for the kind of music that you're about to play, 3 very specific numbers. And there is a reason. And that is, those numbers are 1, 4, and 5. Now, this is actually a real thing. Like, when I told people that music in the game can become a song, this is literally how. Because 145 is pretty much magic in our world as well. There's a little bit of a trick to it. You see, it's called Nashville method. In a, as I comically like to describe it, there is a place in the world known as Nashville, where musicians with tons of education and training ended up in a city with a ton of musicians with little education and training, and they needed a way to be able to communicate. And what they came up with was the Nashville method. So instead of telling people a specific value of C, D, E, F, G, whatever, they're just like, play this number. And this, I'm describing this. Nobody has to memorize this. You don't have to know this. All you have to know is 145. But I want to explain why. And that is 145 is something you have heard all your life. For instance, 145 is for the punks, and that's what we're dealing with mainly in this game. 145 is trying to think of several of them. There are a lot of the Ramones songs. Like 145 is Spider-Man. 145 is I Want to Be Sedated. 1415 is Blitzkrieg Bop. So a lot of Ramones songs use the exact same chord structure. Now, funny enough, 541 is let's see, that is Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols. 541 is Bondage Up Yours by Polystyrene and the X-Ray Specs. It's in a lot of punk music. Now, that said, I don't want anybody to think that this is something that is, simple or should be looked down on, because guess what? 145 is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. 145 is La Bamba. 541 is Sweet Home Alabama. So the thing is that music, there are a lot of repetitions in it, and you can take these 3 magical chords, 1, 4, and 5, and play so many songs. Just switching up the order of them, you can create your own song, and that is what we are doing now. Okay? So that is the really long kind of explanation, but wanted to toss it out there for everybody who might be curious and wants to verify that this is something I am telling the truth about. Asu, what are you trying to do with your song?
So, brain. With this, what is it? I am essentially trying to throw, how to put it?
Any way you can describe it, we can make it work.
Okay. I remember I originally described it as blast beat.
Yeah.
So more of a kind of black metal, just
Yeah. So
slamming the kick drums as hard as I can.
and this
Snares.
sonic wave just going out, and you're trying to
Yes.
disperse them and blast them away, kind of thing. Correct?
More of a stun, just to overload their brains with so much sonic noise.
Okay. All right. Well, just to get the mechanics down this time, I'm going to keep it in the style of what we call going green. So in terms of music, there's going green and there's seeing red. Going green is what we just talked about. It is 1-4-5. So let's go ahead and do that. How many people are you trying to affect? Are you just trying to affect the two pigs, or are you trying to affect more than them?
Just the 2 pigs.
All right. So just the 2 pigs means that you are focused on 2 creatures. So you're gonna start off your dice pool with 2 dice for the the peeps. You have 2 people that you're targeting. How big an effect are you trying to do? Where are you trying to knock them down where they are? Are you trying to blast them a few feet away? Or are you trying to blast them, a great distance away?
I really wanted to go for
Now-
broke and
Yeah. Now I will say this is the hard part, because the bigger the effect, the more dice you have to roll, the harder it is to roll correctly.
Okay. Then I would say I'm just trying to blast them a few feet away.
All right. So a few feet away where they're falling down, we're going to say another 2 dice. 1 is personal, 2 is the area about the size of a couch.
Okay.
And how long do you want this effect to last? Is the lasting? Is this going to be instant, where they immediately fall down and they've got to deal with getting up? Is it going to be that they are, trying to get up and then having to claw their way? They're on their backs for a couple rounds. You have time to get away. How do you like to go?
I think just 1 round. I'd like
right.
to just knock them on their asses and then move on.
All right, so 1 round is 1 dice. Now, that puts you at 5 dice total. Not a hard amount of dice to roll. But you are trying for a 1, 4, or 5 on your roll.
Okay.
Now,
Oh.
yeah, now here's the thing. This action that you're doing is loud. Okay? Just tossing out there. You are being loud. You're being aggressive with what you're doing. You're going to be able to adjust your dice after you roll. But we're going to say that the riff rating that you have to use for it, because you are being so loud, is loud. Therefore, you have... What is your riff rating?
For loud, that is 6.
6. You have 6 points to adjust your dice. Every point that you can adjust your dice is 1 more pip that you can change 1 dice. All right.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. So let's go ahead and go with that. And tell me, what are we going? How does it look? And go ahead and let me know what the dice are that you end up rolling.
Okay. That is 3, 5, 4, 6, and 4.
All right. So you said 3, 5. Correct.
4, 6, and 4.
All right. So 3, 5, 4, 6, and 4. So that 5 and that 4 do not need to be adjusted. And either of the 4s don't need to be adjusted. That 6 will need to be adjusted down to a 5. So that spends 1 of your points.
Okay.
All right.
And then that 3 would have to go down to a 1.
Yes,
which is
there
2 more
always
points.
has to be a 1. In any music, there always has to be 1 because that is the key.
That makes sense.
And so
That's really neat.
you have just rolled. How many points do you have left over?
I have 3 points left over.
All right, so here's what happens. And everybody witnesses this in the group. As, all of a sudden, in this moment of just musical power that just shoots forward from Jane, they summon up that drum set and they hit that drum, and the pigs go flying. And you rolled a 1, 5, 4, 5, 4 in the end. You have 3 points left over. Those 3 points now shift to either being a drop in tempo or an increase, or you also can generate feedback.
Definitely lower the tempo.
How far would you like to
Because-
lower it? Because right now it's at an 8.
I think all 3.
All 3 will drop it to a 5, which is a neutral scene. All right.
Because I really like that idea of just slamming them hard and them being like, this is just some guy. This is not worth it anymore.
All right. Yeah, the music just shoots out from your drums. They fall to the ground, and after that instant, your drum set dematerializes, whether it's just the paint falling to the ground or whatever. But it hits them in such a way that they then look around and they see you have just done this. There's the rest of your group here, and they're going to go ahead and be like, screw this, we're leaving. Go hop in their car and charge off. And tempo is now at a 5, which is a neutral rating. So pretty much the norms are like, oh well. And just as if nothing is happening, begin wandering off. So this is where we are. Y'all have now exited what is essentially, to some extent, your first combat. And, Pip is like, hey, good job. Yeah, he's looking at you with, like, big eyes of, like, he's now your biggest fan. But he says, we got to get your friend off the street for now. I mean, they left for now, but we're out in the open. Let's go.
I fully agree. Rush over to Shanna and Johnny and just help her pick him up.
Okay.
Let's get out of here.
All right. You find your way back into the alleys. Now, is there anything anyone else would like to do? Now, as you leave, the scene changes. You are no longer in that scene. Therefore, the tempo will adjust. So, is there anything anyone else wants to do before you leave? No? Just making sure. All right. You gather together in your group and you make your way. I'm figuring trying to find an alley or someplace out of the way. But even then, after a few moments, you hear sirens. It's like it's always a given that when you kick, when you kick the man and you kick the machines, it's gonna respond. Even though you drive them away for a moment, the moment you're not looking is when things begin to change again. So you make your way out, and you hear sirens in the distance. Pip is now like, that's a lot of cars. We gotta go. Where do we go?
I see if I can find a path either up or down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not on the main streets.
Danger is not present yet, but it is a heightened scene moving along through the group. We're going to set the tempo at a 7. So tempo is a 7 as y'all are making your way away from everything. Go ahead and roll. Now, I will also say this. If you are ever in a situation where you make a roll and you get the tempo of a scene down to a 1, the scene automatically ends, with everybody getting to take one final action, which there is no test for. but I do want to toss that out there. One, when tempo goes all the way to 1, scene's ending. But so for right now, scene is at a 7. Uh, and you said that you wanted to find a way away, correct, Danielle?
Yeah, so either fire escape up so we can cross tops of buildings, or a manhole to possibly go down.
All right.
Just get us off the streets. As I imagine, this character does that type of thing often.
Cool. Well, let's go for that. Go ahead and give me that roll. You roll wits, I would say. So you're being witty with your response to the situation, and I rolled the tempo. I rolled a 4, so it puts me at 11.
3 put me at a 10.
All right, so I am 1 over. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to say that you do find a manhole cover. But you also do see a cop car pull in at the end of the alley. And so danger of the scene is increasing. There's a big question of getting away now. And as soon as you pull the manhole cover back and Pip sees the cops at the end of the road, which is about first one car comes in, second car comes in behind him, third car is now there. Pip's like, eh, and this literally jumps into the sewer. And you all follow?
Absolutely.
All right. So like I said, I said that I was keeping that point as feedback for the loss of that test. So that's a point of feedback to me. Is that what I said, or did I say I was going to increase tempo? Sorry.
You didn't actually say.
All right. So for me, if you pass the test, you can get a point of feedback, or you can decrease tempo. For me, I can get a point of feedback if you lose that test, or I can increase the tempo. So rather than increasing the tempo, I'm going to take a point of feedback. And you all jump into this sewer area. Funny enough, let's imagine that this isn't just a sewer per se. Instead, because the tempo is still high, it is now at a 7. It's a water slide. There's enough water pressure in here. The stone walls are smooth, and you are now being jetted along the underground in darkness.
Nice.
So,
We calling out to confirm that everybody can swim.
the sounds, though, of the cops begin to drown out in the background after a bit. So you're making your way away, but you do think you also hear some splashes now, also of other things jumping into the sewer after you. Tell me what your group is going to do, and feel free to communicate amongst yourselves as this is basically happening. Anybody?
Yeah, sorry.
Other than just wee.
Thanks for taking my line, John. I really appreciate that.
I'll be trying to make sure that everybody's in front of me and I'm taking up the rear, given my...
Should you be picking up speed and pushing us?
That is something you can do. Remember, this is a storyteller system. You describe it, it can happen.
Does anybody know where we're going? Just
I
away.
think
right
down
Uh,
very, very quickly.
Call the slide.
Gosh dang it, Johnny.
I have the idea that as we're sliding down and down, there's like a half a second where it drops real hard, and as it does, I would just blurt out like, "Everybody jump!" and I would
All
try
right.
and jump.
I will say,
Waterfall.
Yeah.
yeah. So, and y'all are trying, basically, so the water goes down and you try and jump away from it somehow? Like there's going to be a pool below you? Remember, you do have
Yeah.
narrative control. You are kind of co-storytellers in the scene.
Right. So yeah, it would definitely be just a big waterfall straight down into a big. I guess when it's that big, you call it a cistern and not just a well. And what we're basically trying to jump to is one of those catwalks on the other side, one of those metal catwalks.
Okay. I'm going to say this. Now, you've described this scene. You've set up how it's going. This is going to be a test that's going to affect everybody.
Okay.
I am going to set the tempo. It is still technically at a 8, I think, or no, 7 from before. I need to get a die out so I can track that a little bit better. My apologies.
Oh, you're good.
There we go. So, tempo is currently at a 7. And you all need to make a test to jump to this walkway.
Could I attempt a magical effect to help everybody along with that?
You can definitely
Using
try.
music?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If
So how am Good.
yeah, so obviously, is it morally good or is it going to be negative? Is it doing damage or is
Oh,
it helping? So obviously,
100% morally good?
yeah. So that means it's going to be going green. You're still going to fall under the idea of the previous music that you did. You're trying to affect your whole crew, correct?
Yep.
So that's going to be 5.
That-
1 per.
And we're not going to say Pip. Too bad.
That includes Pip, doesn't it?
Oh, I'll be nice because the thing is, after now, let me put that sheet back up there for chat. 1
Right.
second, so they can also follow along. Once you hit 5 people that you were trying to affect, it's basically 5 max on peeps. So
Okay.
you want to affect 6, you're still only rolling 5 dice. You want to affect 10, you're still only rolling 5 dice. Max is out at 5. But
Okay.
now we need to decide how big an area are you trying to affect, and how long is it going to last.
Now, I think for sure we can fit 6 people onto a couch if we're really buddy-buddy. It's going to be room size, I think.
Okay, room size is going to take us up to 3 dice.
Yep.
So
And
you're now
what
at,
I'm
5 plus
kind of
3.
I'm kind of imagining what this is it's going to be like a slide jump. Like as we fall, it's going to catch us and let's just kind of deposit us on the other side.
All right, and so instant.
Instant. Yep.
So 1 dice for that final thing of how long it lasts.
Okay.
So 5 plus 3 plus 1 is a total of 9 dice total. Now, do you have any feedback tokens left over?
I do.
You can spend those to lower your feedback. 1 point of feedback takes away 1 dice from the pool.
Okay. I'm going to spend both my points of feed. You know what? Just 1, because then I can save 1 for emergency.
All right, so that puts you at 8 dice total that you need to roll a 1, 4, or 5. You do get the chance to adjust.
Yep. I think this is going to be bold, and I'll describe the effect once I figure out how good or bad this is. Okay, so 5, 5, 4. There's my 1. I got 2 ones. Oh yeah, I got this. No problem. All right, so my successes are 1, 1, 4, 5, 5, and I have a 2 that I'm going to turn to a 1, a 3 that's going to go to a 4, and a 3 that's going to go to a 4. So I'm going to spend 3 points off my bold,
All right.
which will give me 4 left over.
4 left over.
What I picture happens is Shanna looks around and hears the screams of everybody as we start going over the edge, and it hits a chord, and she hears it and she reaches up and pulls a microphone down. One of the classic old style 50s microphones. There's a cord coming out from like nowhere above her, but she just hits a perfect note, harmonizing with that chord. And underneath everybody, there's this brilliant, like, light energy that creates a swooping slide that kind of slides down and to the ledge and drops everybody safely, if maybe a little roughly, against the wall onto the catwalk.
All right. You all witness this moment, and you feel as this slide, and you hit the slide and fly through the air, making your way onto that ledge. And as you turn around to look at everything, it's like I'm gonna say that the you see some pigs tumble out of that same waterfall, and as they hit the slide, rather than it doing anything, it's as if it shatters. More of like think plastic than glass, to where it almost makes crunching sounds, like candy in your mouth, like a Butterfinger in your mouth kind of sound, as they slam into that, and this crumples, and the magical effect, this dissipates, and they fall all the way down to the cistern below. Now, that said, you had 4 points left over.
4 left over that I'm going to use to drop the tempo of the scene.
All right, so all four going into tempo.
Yes.
All right,
And Ruth, thank you for the point of feedback.
there you go. So 4 points left over then, total.
Yep.
And let's see. Be sure you at this point we've had so many purchase and other things going on. Be sure y'all are tracking y'all's feedback.
Yep.
And that should drop the tempo then down to a 4, correct?
Yes, that's what my math is.
All
3?
right.
I thought
3.
we were at an 8.
I was 7.
No, we were at 7.
7 down to
Oh,
a 3 then.
Yeah, 3.
Yes.
I can math.
All right. So you find yourself now in this kind of cistern area with water far below you. The pigs are scrambling, trying to find an edge and a way away. They're not even concerned with any of you anymore. But you are on this walkway. Now, this walkway has no edging, no rails. And I'm going to say that it is a metal walkway, like grid metal, so you can see through the floor below you. So tempo is now at that 3, though, to close out the scene. Is there anything anyone else would like to do as you're making your way? Anything else? All right. Daniel?
I will do one thing.
Alright.
I will flip off the pigs in the cistern.
All right. Really no need for an effect on that because they're this. You're enjoying the moment, and there's not much they can do. But Danielle?
Thinking of setting up a little something for them, but they're probably not going to make the jump that we made.
All right. The walkway shifts as you make your way along. It's just kind of bends a bit, wobbling in the air. It doesn't feel terribly secure, and so you're like, let's get off this thing quickly. And you push your way through, finding a doorway down here. At the end of this walkway, you open the door, and you find yourself looking at what almost looks like another city. But there are no cars moving. There are no people that you can see necessarily. And with that intro for the moment, we're actually going to go ahead and take our 10-minute break. So hopefully everybody out there, you're enjoying our tale as we play Gutterpunk. In 10 minutes, we will be back to continue our tale and find out where the band has found themselves. See y'all in just a little bit.